The next illegitimate son of Zeus is Hermes. The Romans called him Mercury. Merx in Latin is the Latin word for merchandise. You see there that Hermes is the god of commerce, one of his responsibilities, the god of communication, and the god of thieves, and a whole lot more. His mother's the goddess Maya. I'll spell that out for you just so you can get it down. It's M-A-I-A. The second day after he's born, he climbs out of his crib and he heads out into the world to find out what's out there. He goes to where Apollo's keeping his cattle, and he steals Apollo's cattle. He goes at night. Actually, he slips out of the cave while his mother's asleep, and he goes out and he finds where the cattle are. He ties tree branches to the back of his feet so that he'll erase the footsteps and the sand that he leaves when he walks. And he somehow convinces the cows to walk backwards out of the place where they are, so their footprints will look like they walked in, so this will confuse Apollo. Hermes takes the cattle to a place near to where the cave is. He takes 2 of the cows and sacrifices them to the Olympians. He adds himself in there as one of the Olympians, which is pretty bold. And from those cows that he sacrifices, he grabs some of the intestines and he takes them home, and as he takes them home, he dries them. He finds a tortoise shell on his way home, and he wraps the dried intestines around the tortoise shell and invents the guitar, or a lyre. That's spelled L-Y-R-E, the lyre, like a guitar. He teaches himself how to play the guitar. Well, he gets home. His mother is all upset because her newborn baby is out of the crib, and he comes walking in, and she gets upset. But he plays her beautiful music on his lyre until she's happy, and then she falls asleep. But then Apollo comes storming in. One of Apollo's gifts is prophecy. You'll pick up on that pretty quickly. And Apollo knows who's taken his cattle. He doesn't quite know where they are, but he knows who's done it. So he shows up very angry, and Hermes plays a little baby thing. He lays there in the crib, goo goo gaga, goo goo gaga, and Apollo isn't buying it. He grabs a hold of him, takes him to Mount Olympus, and stands him before Zeus, and Apollo says, Dad, tell me where the cattle are. And Zeus tells Hermes, hey, yeah, you know, your big brother had the cattle. You need to give it back to him. And Hermes says, well, I can't because I already sacrificed 2 of them. Well, now Apollo's just furious. He's really upset. But then Hermes takes out the lyre and he plays beautiful music on it. And Apollo decides, well, if you give me your lyre and teach me how to play it, then you can keep the cattle. And so Hermes teaches Apollo how to play the lyre, and Apollo becomes really good at it. The fact that Apollo plays the lyre shows up in a number of stories, and we'll get to some of those next week. On the screen you see Apollo there. Hermes there. Apollo gives him the staff that you're seeing there, the caduceus, there we go, which looks like that. The staff with 2 snakes wrapped around it there, and the wings there. That's what the heralds carried. Heralds are, that's H-E-R-A-L-D-S, are those who carry messages back and forth between generals in a war, like between the enemy and the good guy general. They send heralds back and forth carrying messages, and so as part of the rules of war, you can't kill a herald because that's how they send messages back and forth between each other. And so carrying that staff marked one as a messenger. Hermes is the messenger of the gods. When you look at it, what do you associate that symbol with? Health and medicine, nursing. That's a historic error in the United States that developed in the late 19th century to use Hermes caduceus as a symbol. What they're really thinking of is, what they were looking for was the rod of Asclepius. That was a healing rod in Greek mythology, with only 1 snake wrapped around it. If you're familiar with the Moses stories that come out of Exodus, there's another story about healing that comes from a bronze snake around a pole. Maybe some connection between the two stories. Anyway, there are all kinds of different staffs that refer to different things with snakes wrapped around them, which is, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Zeus honors Hermes as messenger by giving him special sandals with wings on them, and sometimes it's portrayed as a hat with wings on them. It kind of makes sense here to see them with both. He has to have wings on his hat or his feet because he runs really fast to carry messages, but if he only had wings on his feet, he'd do somersaults all the time. And if he only had wings on his hat, he'd fall on his face all the time, so it kind of makes sense to have them both. Over to the right, you see the tortoise shell with the lyre that he invents there. This is what threw me with the picture here. I was asked who this figure is, and I said I didn't know. Took a quick look. Of course, you see the staff here with the two snakes here, which is why I said I knew why people had suggested Hermes. But I didn't see the wings that go with the typical caduceus, so I wasn't sure because there are so many of these staffs with snakes. And I didn't see winged sandals down here, and because I didn't have my glasses, I didn't see wings here. Is that a wing? It kind of looks like a wing. It might be a ponytail. But if you saw that and the caduceus, then that's why we thought Mercury. That might be wings there. I'm still not quite sure. But anyway, that's what had confused me in our class on Monday.